TGM Production present. Hopefully there's not a lot of errors in this one, because there was a lot of errors in the last one. That's why it was a chop and change. Hello and welcome back to the final episode of Take 2 for 2022. Series 2 has started already. We'll be talking about the top 3 favourite TV shows of 2022, because I prefer TV to film. We've already discussed that in great length, and if you want to hear that, go and check out the previous episode. But now, I'm sorry about the audio if the audio is rubbish. I haven't edited it yet. But the film, today we're talking about our top 3 favourite films of the year, which honestly, I do think a lot of my favourite TV shows, my favourite films recently have been, what do we call it? They have been, I can't remember the word now. They have been British, that's the word I was looking for. They have been British films. Because a lot of films these days that are, like, fantastic, glorious, the greatest thing you'll ever see, are British. Some of them have been in the cinema. One of them, I don't know if they did make it to the cinema. Well, let's talk about my top 3 favourite TV shows. I was just getting the notes set up, because I didn't have the notes actually up, so I was looking for them. And then I had to take a screenshot, because then I thought I found them and then I took the wrong screenshot. So my apologies. So, number 3 is like, yes, it's good, but it hasn't beaten 2 or 1. And number 1 is its greatest film of the year. So, we'll start with number 3. Number 3 was a late one for me. I watched it not so long ago, called Brian and Charles. Now, turns out that David Earl has been doing Brian and Charles for yonks on the internet and online and all this. But the film is like a new thing for him. So, Brian and Charles is a film about Brian. Brian lives in Wales, rural Wales. And it's about how he gets really lonely. And so he decides, he's an inventor, but he decided, and every invention he built has gone wrong. It's a mockumentary type thing, but he decided to make a robot. This robot was made out of loose beans. He found it at a fly tip. And I can't explain what a fly tip is for non-UK viewers and listeners, but he then decided to build Charles. Now, Charles is the best character in the whole film. Like, it's called Brian and Charles. Brian is like, yes, Brian, hilarious, ha ha ha. But Charles is phenomenal. That's why film 4 got Charles to do all the promotion for the film, because it's comical. Charles is a robot that's come to life, that loves cabbage. He loves cabbage even though he's a robot, and robots can't eat cabbage. It's a phenomenal film. I watched it on Sky, on the Sky Store, but you can watch it on Apple TV, on iTunes you can buy it, and you can DVD. I would highly recommend it for anyone that loves British comedy. David Earl was previously in Afterlife, Ricky Gervais' programme, and I think he was in another he also co-wrote The Cockfields, which is what Ben Rufus Green has done. Phenomenal actor. That is Ben Rufus Green and David Earl. And I think David Earl was in extras, but don't quote me on that. So, at number 2 is a film that I have reviewed for this podcast. The 2 and 1 of the film that I reviewed for this podcast. Because I was trying to do what Mark and Simon Mayer do. But this is called The Drownings of Arthur Braxton. Now, The Drownings of Arthur Braxton is a film that started being made in 2016 by Luke Cutsforth. And it was a tricky thing to be developed. It's based off a book. Johnny Vegas did a phenomenal performance in it. It's available on Amazon Prime worldwide. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth watching. It's about this bloke called Arthur Braxton who meets this woman in a pool, and it's like a love story, but a love story that isn't. I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's like a it's like a love story with a twist, because you've got the school element and you've got Johnny Vegas being a drunk dad, which is perfect for Johnny, because Johnny is best known as a drunk comedian. I think that's what you would describe him as, but I wouldn't. I think other people do. Now, would I recommend Brian Child and the Johnny and Arthur Braxton? Yes, why would I not mention it? Now, the Johnny and Arthur Braxton, it's phenomenal. I'm so glad. I'm so happy when they provided me with the clip I got to use for my review of it, which is an earlier episode. It's in series 1 of this podcast. It's one of the highlights of the podcast, but it is a utterly fantastic film. Now, number 1, the reason why this is shorter than the other one is because the other one had a lot of errors, so I had to sort of like stop and start. But with this one, there's been no errors thus far, so we've not had to stop or start, we just had to start. So, and number 1 is another British film. It is All My Friends Hate Me. All My Friends Hate Me is a British film about this guy who goes to meet his university friends. Sorry about that cut there. All My Friends Hate Me. I'm going to start from the beginning because I need to make more sense. All My Friends Hate Me is a film based about this guy who meets up with his university friends to celebrate his birthday, and they meet this stranger. And this stranger, the actor, I don't know who the actor was, but the actor ended up being on a lot of other programmes since. But it's all about how they meet each other, and he then pretends to hate them, and there's a whole revelation at the end. He's got, it's a fantastic film. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but they're all worth watching. Now, these films are hard to watch if you already know what's going to happen, so I don't want to spoil them. But I did do a review for All My Friends Hate Me, and I did do a review for The Drowning of Arthur Braxton already, so if you want to go and check them out, go and listen to the previous episodes if you're on Spotify and have music, but watch them on YouTube if you want to. But I highly recommend all the films. My favourite film of the year was All My Friends Hate Me. I watched it on the way up to Scotland. It's a glorious film. It's got comedy, it's got thrillers, it's got everything you would want from a film. So, there you have it. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for that one error. I'll see you all next time. See you next year for more episodes of Take 2. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!